Hey there, in this video I'm going to show you how you can draw some shapes with matplotlib. Perhaps you might want to do that to make a static figure, perhaps you want that to be something that's animated. In either case, the actual making of the shapes and adding them to your figure is the same. So let's start by making a circle. Make a circle. From plot we're going to call circle with a capital C here. We're creating a circle object. Our first argument here is the center of the circle, so I'm going to put it at 2, 2. Radius, of course, would be the radius of the circle, and we could go with the default color, but I'm going to change the color to green. Another thing I could make is a rectangle. So I'm going to call plot.rectangle. Not too hard to figure out the names here, and there are some other shapes than what I'm showing you here. They've got pretty common sense names. Anyway, I'm going to put my rectangle's bottom left corner at 3, 3. I'm going to give it a width of 2 and a height of 1. I'm trying to make sure that I don't end up overlapping my circle. I think we'll be okay though. And we've got actually 2 colors for the rectangle, face color and an edge color. I mean, same thing's true for the circle. We could just set color and have a single colored rectangle, but let's make a rectangle that has a different edge color than face color. So the other kind of thing we could do here is face color equals, we could just do Y, but we could type out the name yellow. Do edge color equals black. We'll go blue, black and gold here. And let's add a line. We could add a line by drawing a plot, but we can also explicitly create lines using plt.line2d. You may recognize the name line2d from the animation video. Got my equal sign here. Then for the line, we need a starting point and an end point. Didn't do anything here at 0 yet, so I could do 0, let's do 0, 5, and 5, 5. Give us a nice horizontal line, and let's make it, oh, I don't know, let's make it purple. Alright, so running that cell creates these objects. You'll notice nothing drew because they're not attached to any plots yet. They're just objects that exist that could be created or could be added into a plot. So we need to have access to a plot object for this to work. There's a few ways to get access to a plot, but by far the easiest is to call GCA for get current access. If you haven't created a plot yet, like actually here I haven't created a plot, this will make a plot for us and give us access to it. Or if I just made a plot, this will give me access to the plot I last made. And then what we do here is we call add patch. These shapes here in matplotlib are generically called patches. You may see the word patch here and there in the documentation. It just represents some kind of colored area. So we're going to add patch circle rectangle and line. Actually, just kidding. It's not called add patch for the line. It's called add line. Not line, add line. This one always gets me. All right, so add line. The other ones are add patch. Now, before we draw anything, it's a good idea if you're going to be hand making figures here to set the axis to scaled so that the X and the Y are the same scaling. Otherwise, things look squashed by default. And let's show it. So we'll get our graph that has no data to graph in it, but it's got the shapes added to it. We've got our circle, our rectangle with the black border, we got our purple line. And we could plot things on top of this, or we could plot things and then add these on top of that. Lots of options here. We could animate these, changing their dimensions, their colors, whatever. Anything you can get your hands on, you can animate in matplotlib. One last thing I might want to do is I might want to take away the outside border here and just have the shapes on a white background. That's easy to do. We just add a call to axis off. We want to keep the call to scaled because we do still want them to be scaled, but then after we scale them, we want to turn them off so they disappear. Now this is going to crash when I run it. The reason it's going to crash is kind of a subtle thing. Gives you all these yo, can't put single artist in more than one figure. So here's the issue. We have to make new objects. Like once we have drawn a circle in a particular plot, it's attached to that plot, and if I try to make a new plot, it gets mad if I reuse the circle. So what we would do, the solution there is to rerun this cell, or to put this code in the same cell. so that it gets rerun. So we have to rerun this line, circle equals, rectangle equals, line equals, and then we can add them again. Just so, I mean, that's inevitably you'll run into that error if you start drawing with matplotlib. Just be careful. Once you've added them, you have to recreate the object if you're going to add them again. So with the axis turned off, we get this nice line art down here. And it's really more of using matplotlib to draw shapes or maybe things I want to animate instead of drawing graphs. So sort of another use for it.